Bomb diggity doo. Man, this is big. GIE Plus Expo just around the corner. And at the largest event in our industry, you're going to see the latest technological innovations. You get to meet with product suppliers, participate in workshops, get hands-on time with the best equipment, and hang out with your favorite lawn bros. Brian says he hopes to see you at the trade show. It's in Louisville, October the 20th through the 22nd. And get 50% off your registration when you use the promo code Brian. And we've got a link for you in the description.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys. And today we have a great returning guest. We have none other than Caleb Auman with Auman Lawn and Landscape, or Auman Landscape LLC, I should say. Sorry about that, Caleb. But welcome to, I know you'll correct me, man. So here we go. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, really. Yeah, my first company actually was, we did have Lawn and Landscape in the name, and then it changed to Auman Landscape Company, and then now its current iteration is just Auman Landscape, and then it's an LLC or whatever. So, yeah, man, that's how we roll. It was funny to hear that, actually, because it harkened back to days we used to do lawn care stuff. Made me think about that old branding. So, anyway, thanks for having me on, dude.
Yeah, no, I wonder if I picked that up from your podcast, like, because I don't know if I've ever called you Auman Lawn and Landscape, you know? So, I wonder if I listened to, like, an episode recently that you guys did. If you guys don't know Caleb and Brittany Auman, they are contractors, hardscapers down in the where I always mess up the county. What county are you guys in again?
We are in beautiful Fairfield County, as Paul Jameson always gives me a hard time for. Fairfield County, beautiful Fairfield County.
That's right.
We're just southeast of Columbus, Ohio, about 30 miles, give or take.
Okay, gotcha. And we've actually become really good buds the last couple years. And Liz,
easy, buddy. Jeez, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we say that about you. Hopefully, you feel the same about us. But as long as
absolutely,
as long as we keep sending you green stinky paper, hopefully you'll be my friend, right? And
yeah, it's expensive, but I'll be your friend.
Yeah, well,
$10.
Checks in the mail, right? Is that what the kids say? So,
yeah.
But so much to talk about. Some really exciting updates and announcements from the Aumans. We're going to get into that. And I just like getting a little mid-season update from these guys because, you know, to be totally honest with you guys, we talked to the Aumans quite a bit, but I know you guys follow Caleb on Instagram, but sometimes you don't always get like the full story or context. You get snippets, right, on Instagram stories and on the feed, but these guys have it going on. They have a successful company. Caleb will tell everybody here that he has zero imposter syndrome himself about his success in life. Just having fun there. And but you know what? This last like 90 to 120 days for the Aumans has been, my gosh, what haven't you guys tackled and persevered and overcame and still going through some stuff? It's just been like, Liz and I look externally. I'm like, I don't know if I could do everything they're doing, all while having a beautiful family with 3 kids that are just getting bigger every day, right, Caleb? And so it's going to be a really fun episode. But Caleb, why don't you give these guys just another quick like snapshot, bring them up to speed. Maybe they don't know who you guys are or haven't heard of you guys in Columbus, Ohio, or follow you on Instagram. Just give these guys maybe a little life update about family and everything you guys got going on.
Yeah, sure, man. And thank you for the kind words there. And I believe it or not, and even the past 30 days, I'm getting way better about my imposter syndrome thing because I've been thinking about it a lot. So. Yeah. I am getting a lot better about it, but we run a landscape design build company in beautiful Fairfield County, Ohio, as we said. I've been in contracting for 20 years. I crashed my first company 10 years in, and then got into the social media world kind of heavy, I think about 4 years ago, maybe. I don't even know what that time frame is. But we focused on hardscape construction, paver patios, retaining walls, that kind of stuff. Then we have an environmental company, Auman Environmental, that does a lot of stormwater management work. So we travel the state of Ohio for that stuff, repairing parking lot drains and retention ponds and that kind of stuff. And then we have a thing called the Hardscape Academy, which is like online training courses and stuff like that for installing pavers and retaining walls and a bunch of other stuff yet to come. So we got a lot of irons in the fire, I think it's one of the things we really click on, Brian, is we both have like a million irons in the fire, and
Sure.
we both kind of get like the whole struggle of everything, and like, so I think that's kind of really one of our big bonds. We're both pushing hard and trying to get somewhere, and I think it's probably you and I's connection. And we have other similar interests too, and fast 4-wheel drive things and
pew pews.
loud. Yeah, loud. Thunder sticks or whatever. That was the
Sure.
joke. So we're into all that kind of stuff, man. So that's what we're up to. We've got 5 full-time guys in the field right now, plus Britt and I, which we're not in the field so much anymore. We're mostly in the office, just trying to keep all the plates spinning and the wheels from falling off most days. And 3 kids. Yeah, so lots going on, but everybody's got lots going on these days. I don't think we're maybe too much an exception, but we're maybe that's the imposter syndrome coming back in there, sneaking back in there, Brian.
You're right.
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you guys, first off, the whole imposter syndrome thing, if you guys want to go down that rabbit hole, you can listen to that whole conversation with Alicia Brensel with Brex Enterprises. Caleb did a really good podcast interview with Alicia, and they were actually here to speak at this event that Caleb and Brittany and Liz and I co-hosted together in the trades. A lot of you guys have heard a lot about that. But any which way, I don't know where I was going with that, but Caleb, I don't think you have any imposter syndrome, bud. You are, you have the podcast, the Kid Contractor podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. So give a, I know it's almost like forgetting one of your children. Okay. So let's try this again.
Yeah. For the amount of time I put in that stupid thing. And so at the encouragement of you and Liz, we started a podcast a little while ago now, called the Kid Contractor Podcast. And, it's mostly just interviewing, the main thing I try to do is interview a bunch of different people and draw the commonalities of everything from pizza shop owner to owner operating lawn landscape company to interviewing Brex, a $10 million excavating company. And just drawing all the commonalities of we all struggle with the same stuff. And that's one thing I think I'm really trying to bring out is we're not alone. You're not alone out there struggling in all the things you struggle with payroll or bills or how do we get new clients? And we're all struggling with that stuff. Or pizza shop trying to figure out how to get more customers. We're all struggling with the same things. It's just got, slightly different nuance to it of, what that, specific field requires, but we're all out there trying to make it happen. Right. And, that's the kind of the premise of the podcast, I suppose. Man, that's another thing we're into.
Well,
grief, complete from of it.
I was going to say, you're doing a great job. You guys are in the top 100 pretty regularly, which is no small feat. Out of nowhere, Caleb Auman coming in hot, as the kids say.
Yeah.
And so, for real though, no hype by any means, but I listen to it every day. I think you guys have 3 days a week you put out podcasts, and it's one of my go-tos. I listen every day. I'm out there in the field. I thoroughly enjoy mowing grass for a living. I listen to polls every day. I listen to Caleb's every day, a couple other guys every day. And it's really cool to see, selfishly, it's cool to see the different people that you have on the show that I'm not in that silo, that lane, that world of hardscaping or landscaping or land clearing or farming or just, and just in general, other great interviews that you have too. You had, is it Brittany's stepdad on the podcast just a couple weeks ago?
Mark, Brittany's stepdad, who's been in her life, pretty much who has been in her life pretty much her whole life.
Yeah.
And that was a cool. I didn't know how that episode was going to be received, and I actually got a ton of great feedback on it, which I was a little surprised on.
Yeah.
But that one was really cool. The podcast is a lot of fun, and we're on the top 100 list fairly often, I guess. And this is the thing of why it's so important to surround yourself with people that are aspiring to do big things like you are. And one of the things that drives me crazy, Brian. I'll have somebody on my show, and I'll, you and I are talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I had them on last year." Somebody I thought I didn't know. He's got 10 million episodes. I can never get caught up. But it's
happens
I was
to me
talking about
too.
having Evan Kaler on. I was like, "Yeah, I had Evan Kaler on." He's like, "Yeah, I had him on last year." I'm like, "Geez," here I thought I had somebody else, but that was unexposed or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the podcast thing's fun. But so thanks you and Paul Jameson. And, talking, podcast theory or theorem, of how to make that thing actually work out. For anything you're doing, finding people that are doing what you want to do and where you want to be successful, because you and Paul are running very successful podcasts. I wouldn't mind my podcast being successful. So talking to you about it and, all that stuff, it's important, be it you're trying to build a construction company or a landscape or a lawn care, Evan Kaler said it really good the other day on his pod or on the podcast I was interviewing, but he's like, like, dude, if you look around the room and you're the smartest or most experienced guy in the room, you need to get in a new room.
Mm.
And it was like, God, yeah, that's such a good point. Like, always make sure you're pushing yourself, right?
Dude, that interview was really, really good. By the way, the one with Mark and Height, his HVAC, so many great parallels to a contractor company, because he is a contractor, but in a different avenue and lane, right? Great episode, just great episode to button that up really quick. But also with Evan's episode.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just laughing.
I went on a tangent there.
No, we both do the same thing. But I was laughing that Evan, he's like, somewhere along the way, like you had like corrected him. He goes, yeah, man. He goes, I'm only 20, whatever, 22. I don't even know. And he's like, man, it's just tough out there, man. He's like, one day I'll get. He's got like $100,000 in equipment and all this other mess. And he's like, yeah, man. He goes, one day I hope to like make it. And we're just sucking wind here, though, dude. And if I could tell my younger self, I'm like, dude, you're 22. You know what I mean? Like
I know,
and you were like, you were like, I'm 30. You're like, I'm 10 years behind of where I need to be. And Evan's like relating to you, like, yeah, man, we both suck, and I'm like,
that was funny. Like, dude,
I don't know how else to describe it. I was literally laughing on my mower. He's like, yeah, man, we both suck. We're both in this together. And I'm like, Evan, shut up. Like, shut up.
Yeah, really. So dude, I talk to so many young guys, and Gary V, harps on this a lot of like, be patient. Like, you're 22, you're 25, you're 27. Right. Like, dude, and if you keep at what you're doing now, like at the pace you're going, like in Evan's example, like, dude, you're 22, your company's doing 750,000.
Right.
Like, you keep this, dude, in 10 years, in 5 years, you won't believe where you're at in 5 years. You won't believe, it'll blow your freaking mind where you're at in 10 years. Like,
yeah.
And so it's like, if you're young like that, just be patient. It takes time. And the other guy I talked to up in Detroit, Eric High, same thing. Like, man, he just feels like he's not getting anywhere. And he's the same thing. He's 25, and it's like, dude, chill out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got so far to go. Just relax. You're so young. You got so many relationships to build up, and the older you get, just the more perceived as a professional you're going to be, and you'll build those relationships that I've been trying to build for 15 and 20 years to secure six-figure projects or whatever. And some guys, even at a young age, are really good at procuring those jobs and laying those jobs down. Then other guys like me, it took me a while to build confidence and do that kind of stuff. So just hang in there. I mean, but just be smart and diligent and keep on it, and you'll get there. Just be patient.
I love it. I did a podcast earlier with a young guy. He was on a couple of weeks ago. His name is Mike, and his first full year. This is like his real first full year. They're doing probably $250,000, and he's like, yeah, I'm not sure if this thing's really going to work for me. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. This could work out. It might not. And we have 3 trucks, 3 crews, and we made like 40,000 last month, but I'm not sure if this is really my future, because like this is kind of slow. And and I'm like, what are you talking? I mean, he didn't say that, but like his the essence, he's like, I was just laughing so hard. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I didn't even catch my stride till 31, and
yeah, no kidding.
And that's even relative if you ask me, because I'm like, same thing. I feel I'm 35 going on, 21 here. And it's just so exciting to see these guys in the first year or two, have companies doing a couple $100,000 a year. And to me, it's really, rewarding seeing that, because the content that we're putting out there is helping them. Now, they absolutely have to do the hard work. There's no denying that. But my gosh, like what an opportunity to start at, year 10 in your first year of business by learning from other people's mistakes and experiences, just like you put out there with the Kid Contractor podcast.
Yeah, there's so much, dude. There's so much. I mean, there's no excuse anymore with the amount of free content out there to suck at something or to like be clueless. You might suck at your first try. Like, there's so much free content out there of how to build. I mean, your YouTube channel alone of like how to gain a commercial client, how to, gain new clients, how to sharpen your friggin' mower blades. I mean, like, there's just no excuse to like be clueless. Right. And so, you're so much ahead of young guys. And Brian, I want to ask you a question that I got posed this morning. Yeah. So we're talking to the young guys in the room, right? The 21. He's like, dude, I'm 40. And I was like, I hear you saying that's all that stuff we just said to like the young guys, but like, dude, I'm 40. I quit an $80,000 a year job, and I got 2 kids and a wife and a house, and like, I'm nervous. I'm practically what he says, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what do you say to those dudes of like, you know, you're at 40, you don't have a whole lot of time to really put your foot on the pedal, like the gas pedal. Like, what would you say to that, Brian?
Well,
I'm curious.
Funny story. One, I it's hard for me to give advice to somebody where I haven't walked in their shoes. I'm not 40, right?
I understand.
Because I can give a bunch of theory, but what I will say is we just had Carrie and Bronson with Kibler Lawn and Landscape on our podcast just a couple episodes ago, and they're down in Tampa. And you want to talk about a success story? I mean, this guy had a great career in the financial services industry, you know, with retirement and insurances and all this fun stuff. And at 42, he did an about face. He was miserable with the job. It just wasn't the same thing. And I'm not putting words in his mouth. He literally was like, I'm done. It's just not fun. It's not what I thought it would be. Successful run at it. I mean, he had a great career. It wasn't like he was a flake. But him and his wife just realized he was unhappy. They lived in Atlanta, and they literally watched like 150, 200 YouTube videos from my content, a couple other folks, and they moved their whole family the next spring from Atlanta to, I mean, we're talking in 6 to 12 months after finding lawn care YouTube people, moved down there, quit his career, started a lawn and landscape company, cold turkey. Their first year, they netted $100,000 last year in the COVID year. And, you know, homie's 40, 44, 46 years old. And,
Dang.
And so, like, I don't know what else to say other than, like, I heard somebody say once, success is all about how bad do you want it, go get it. Like, period. Like, there's no, I mean, we can talk all day long, and we all do, right? We always dissect this thing, and we're always analyzing and trying to move the needle forward. But the reality is, like, how bad do you want it, go get it. Because I'm doing a podcast with a 19-year-old, and he's doing $250,000 his first year. I see Christian with CNI Services in Chicagoland area, Illinois. I'm doing $400,000 or $500,000 at 19. You know, and so I think Paul said a really good line the other day, and I really enjoyed it. He said, "Don't." The cool thing about all of our content is that our ceiling can be your floor, and so welcome to the new normal. You know, and you know what? I hope I can scream from the rooftop that these opportunities exist, because what's screaming at the top of the rooftop right now is go to college, get $200,000 in student loan debt, and get a sociology degree. And I just don't understand that conversation. And the kids get the conversation, the parents don't. And I don't have influence into the parents, but I can try to help these younger guys. And Caleb, you do as well. Like the 19, 20, 25-year-olds. Like, I'm not saying it's easy. Okay, like nobody's going to preface that. There's days where we get rain and scheduling, and you know things suck. You guys have a great shirt. What's your shirt say, by the way, for contracting? That gray shirt.
It's welcome to contracting, but it's just a line item list of things of like issues in contracting. So it's like low. So it starts off. It's like low cash flow, no show employees, materials are late, a couple other things, and then the final line is like welcome to contracting.
Right. I love it.
Like, welcome to it, man, because that's just the way it is, you know. And you know, the other thing too, and I always want to say this, because other feedback I get too is like, man, I hear all these young guys doing $250,000 and $450,000 and all this stuff. It's like, you can do $450,000 and have $451,000 in cost. Right. So like, 100%. And I'm not saying those guys aren't making money, but don't get hung up on the gross sales, folks. Yep. That's like, that is the biggest damn trap there is out there, to get stuck on this gross sales. It looks impressive. It sounds cool. Brian, I think I heard on your podcast, what is it? Top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity.
Yeah, that was Corey Ballard. That's a guy running a $20 million company. You know, that's there's got to be some merit to that statement. You know.
Yeah, that's so the freaking truth. Like, all that matters is the bottom line. So if you're doing $250,000 and you're making 50% on it, that's cool. If you're doing $450,000 and you're doing 10%, what's it really worth, right? Like, and you just gotta pay attention to that. So don't get hung up. There's a lot of guys out there pushing the gross sales stuff, and it's like, that's cool, and like, we hang our hat on our sales thing. Don't get me wrong, I fall victim to that sometimes too, and it's like, we hang our hat on our sales goals sometimes, and it's like, doesn't mean crap if you didn't still pull a good salary. And that's another thing, Brian. I go down this tangent all the freaking time, but
gross
it's like
profit, net profit,
and net profit, and true net profit. True net profit is the money made after everyone and everything is paid. Everyone and everything is paid, including the owners. So there's an owner's salary and then the money left over after that. That's the real profit of a company.
I love it.
If you're paying yourself 50,000, 30,000, 20, 100, whatever, there had better be actual money left over after that. And that's your true net profit on a year, a month, a week, whatever you want to look at it.
This is solid.
That's how you run a real business.
It's solid stuff, man. Well, this is all stuff that you talk about day in, day out on your guys' podcast. I thoroughly learn. I mean, I learn from you. I learn from your podcast. You know what? One thing I'll say, and this might sound kind of weird. Maybe you guys haven't heard anybody talk like this before, but one thing I will say is I really enjoy being friends with Caleb and Brittany, but I also want to stay distanced enough from them to where I don't take their friendship for granted, to where I don't appreciate them and their business acumen. You know, I don't want familiarity to blind me with their friendship, that I don't also look at them as a peer and somebody I can learn from. And so I always joke with Caleb, like I send him a screenshot every morning. I'm like, dude, listen to your podcast today. He's like, okay, thanks for the, but you always joke. You're like, well, we get 12 downloads a day. So that must be 10 of them, you know, 10 of them is Fullerton and 2 of them is you and Brittany, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, shut up with that.
It's really the other way around. I listen to it 10 times. You listen to it, you know, once or twice maybe.
Yeah, right. You're like, hey, Levi, come over here. Listen to this. It's daddy. You know?
Hey, pay attention. Download it on your phone, Adam. My daughter. Download it on your phone.
Hey, you know,
just count numbers up.
I'll give you some insider trading info, right? My mom was my 1,000th subscriber on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I swear to God, we were on vacation somewhere. I'm at $9.99. I'm like, hey, give me your phone. She's like, what? I'm like, you're going to subscribe to me on YouTube. She didn't even have the app, you know, and she had a Google phone at the time, so I didn't even want to download it on Android, you know, one of those deals. But hey, every download counts, right, Caleb? But
bet.
And I say that because in all sincerity, like I don't want to get so comfortable around somebody just because, that guy's always there, or they always pick up, or you can always count on them. Like, I never want to get like entitled, you know, ever to anything. And that includes my friendships and the people that I have out there. So a lot of nice words just to say like, hey, like Liz and I genuinely appreciate you guys. We genuinely respect you guys. We're genuinely like, hey, we need to fix our crap to still be these people's friends, because they have it more figured out, as much as you guys say you don't. And
no, I was gonna say easy.
No,
easily.
I mean, every time we get around you, like I'm like, hey, why do we suck at this compared to like you guys? Like, oh, we did this, and we have 3 kids, and I'm like, yeah, well,
we have the same conversation. You know, we have like, oh, geez, I've got to. You know, we have the same. Britt and I have the same conversation. Like, man, we really need to step it up on this. And like Brian had a great point on it. So we're over here getting high on each other's supply here, I guess. But
yeah.
Like, no, it's the feeling's mutual. Like we value your friendship as well, and you and Liz are a ton of fun. And by the time this airs, maybe baby is here. Who knows, right? By the way,
any minute now. I'm not sure at the time of this recording. Right now, Liz is in the other room, so I haven't heard anything. But if I got to button this one up quick, you'll know why. But actually, let's do this. There's a couple other topics I want to get into. We'll shift gears a little bit. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors and show announcements, and we're going to come right on back because I want to hear some really exciting news and updates. I think Caleb's ready to let the cat out of the bag, so this is a big one.
Oh, what a cliffhanger!
Yeah, I know.
You're such a pro.
I'm learning from my boy Paul Jameson. He's like, Fullerton, your transitions suck. Fix them, you know. And so, if you guys want to hear the big, reveal from the man, this is an industry exclusive. Okay. So,
geez.
We're gonna milk it for all it's worth, Caleb. That's what we have to do.
Oh, Brian, you're horrible.
That's how we actually get on the top 100. We don't put out good content. We just milk.
See, I'm giving you crap, but I'm taking notes the whole time. So.
well, let's do this. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer. He can polish this dumpster fire up, as you like to call our podcast, which is true. And then we're gonna come right on back.
No, my podcast. I don't call your podcast that. I call my podcast a train wreck, man. It's getting better though. I'm doing better at it. Yeah. Anyway, let's go to a break or whatever the hell.
But let's go to a break, and then we'll leave it right there. We'll come right on back.
When productivity matters, Billy Goat's one and done 30-inch and 25-inch plugger reciprocating aerators deliver. You have a tight window of time to complete your aeration services before the leaves start flying and fall cleanups get underway. So get to it with hydro drive, self-propelled, variable speed, in-ground turning, and the unmatched maneuverability of a Billy Goat reciprocating aerator. Eliminate double aerating and do patch repair and seedbed prep on the fly, saving time and maximizing your productivity. Complete a quarter acre in as little as 15 minutes with the 30-inch and up to just under 43,000 square feet per hour with the 25-inch. Get in more jobs per day and do them with one pass, one machine, a one-man crew, and aerate one time without callbacks. See your local lawn and garden dealer and ask about the 150-day deferred, 0 down, 0% or low-interest financing up to 4 years.
This is the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast. Now, here is your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, guys. So we are back here with the Kid Contractor Podcast. I'm just kidding. It's the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast. But it might as well just let Caleb talk for the next half hour. We'll just take it from there. You know what I mean, Caleb? Because you're the one.
Oh boy,
you're the one dropping bombs, dropping nuggets, and teaching these people the good stuff. But hey, in all sincerity, Liz and I've been praying for you guys, pulling for you guys. You had something really, really cool happen that you can talk about as little as you want, as much as you want. I know you're very humble, but also. You don't like to count your chickens before they hatch. Is that the saying? And so, as we're speaking right now, you basically got the nod. Things are transforming right in front of your guys. So what's the big reveal? Because you guys did an Instagram live. So I think it's kind of the cat's out of the bag a little bit.
Yeah, well, thank you, Brian. So for the past 8 months, we've been trying to get a property on lockdown to build the future home, world headquarters of Auman Landscape, Auman Environmental, and the Hardscape Academy. And Auman Social as well, Auman Social Media stuff, or whatever the heck we're going to do with that.
Yeah.
And we finally got in contract officially to buy this 3-acre tract of land that is going to be zone commercial.
Yeah.
And it'll be the headquarters of our company. We'll have offices there. We'll have both our companies on the physical production side of Auman Landscape, Auman Environmental Company, where we'll have all our. We're like insanely excited about this because we're currently renting and have been for 12 years probably. A 15-foot by 40-foot bay, storage unit with a bunch of outdoor storage for our 4 or 5 trucks. I don't know. Trailers, a little bit of bulk material. I don't have fuel tanks there because my landlord won't let me for insurance reasons. But, moving this facility now, we're going to have offices, indoor repair bay so we can work on stuff in the wintertime and build things inside. And then on top of that, the really cool thing is we're going to build a really big building. We plan on this thing being big. And we're going to have an indoor training area for the Hardscape Academy that we're going to host like live training sessions.
Yeah.
So we're insanely excited about that. I actually talked to somebody today. What I want to do actually is kind of make it the Midwest hub of social media stuff. So I plan on hosting, even with AJ. I talked to AJ about this. AJ Brenzel with Rex Enterprises. I want to host like a training for heavy equipment or equipment operation days of like, you want to come learn how to, properly cut out a trench with an excavator or, whatever, or run a dozer a little bit. We're going to host training days like that. I've talked to somebody about lawn care, like treatment training days. Like we want it to be a training facility to further the industry. And we've got so many cool plans for this place. It's just like, we're just like out of control excited.
That is so
it's going to be insane.
Is it nearby where you guys currently are at, or like what's the proximity? Like, is it in Timbuktu or nearby, or logistically?
No. So one of my main, the main driver for the property is proximity to the highway.
Okay.
And this is something I learned from Todd Pugh of Enviroscapes in Canton, Ohio, at a Marty Grunder conference. But he was talking about this was one of those conferences like LAL. Except I paid $2,000 freaking bucks to go to this thing.
We need to raise our rates.
But, yeah, really.
We got the rate increase letter going out to all of y'all. So sorry,
yeah, right.
Guys.
Exactly. There you go. Right. So, but like this is something I learned there that made it worth. It probably saved me $100,000. I don't even know. And again, like the value you give at LAL, like there's stuff there. The first year I went, I was a speaker there, and I was taking notes like crazy from Stan and everybody speaking. It was just like crazy value. So like. Where I'm getting with that is like the money I invested in the conference was well worth. I mean, like it was 100-fold worth what I paid for it, probably.
Right,
tenfold at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, Todd Pugh's concept was, he's like, you figure, you're driving, okay, yeah, you can buy cheaper land outside of town, cool. But if you figure you're running guys an extra 20 minutes a day on, just to get to the highway or your main artery of business, let's say, you got to calculate out that windshield time, be it one guy or three guys or 20.
Right.
An extra 20 minutes a day is thousands of dollars a month in payroll, in windshield time, in unproductive time. He's like, you can afford the mortgage on a property closer to the freeway and closer to town, because you're going to be paying it out in payroll otherwise, windshield time. Mm-hmm. So as best you can, spend the money to get, prime real estate, because it saves you money in the long run. And it's also invested time, money too. So yeah, the land and the property and all that crap's more expensive. Yes. But it's also it's premium real estate you're going to get your money back out of. Mm. And so as opposed to paying guys windshield time, that's just money you set on fire and it's gone forever.
Right.
And so that was just one of those mind moments of my freaking mind is man, that's such a good point. Cause I did calculate load unload time at the shop of man, we got 3 guys loading trucks every morning. That's literally $700 a month, just in load unload time. But the drive time to and from, shop to your first site, your
sure.
first, route or whatever. So all these things, play into your business. Right. And so, that was just mine. So that was my number one thing with the property we're looking for. So long story short, or short story long, really.
Sure.
We found a piece of land. Britt found some others that were outside town. I'm like, nope, no, I'm going to look at them because it doesn't fit what we're looking for. And I'm like, the right thing's out there. We just got to be patient. And so the right thing came up. We were then patient on top of that. And poor Britt is losing her mind over it because she is wanting to lock this thing down as fast as possible.
Right.
And, praying to God, Lord, please give me patience and give it to me now, kind of deal, so.
Right.
And the Lord taught Britt a good lesson on being patient, because it took 8 months just to get the approval on this thing, because we're buying it from a place that's got to go through a ton of hierarchy of approval to sell the land.
Right.
And it just took for freaking ever. And finally we're in contract, and it still may take us 6 months before we even break ground on this place. Just due to, we've got to change zoning, which we believe will go in our favor, rather easily because of all the circumstances around it, which we did our due diligence on. All that stuff. We've been saving money like crazy for a long time. We want to pay cash for the land. Now we're thinking that if we might finance the land and hang on to our cash, because money's cheap, and this will allow us to pay more for the building. So we're working out a lot of those little details at the moment. But dude, we're just crazy excited, and we're really looking forward to it being a hub of the community for some really cool opportunities to do some really neat stuff. And I imagine you'll be part of something with us at some point. We're just crazy excited for the future of this facility.
That's so cool, man. You could do one of those school building, campaigns where everybody can buy a brick for $10, and or buy a.
We might have to. I don't know. We haven't seen the building budget yet. We might have to.
Dude, no kid there, man. I'm like, hey, we'll do a GoFundMe right now. You guys can come over anytime you want and use the pool, and that is funny right there. We had a school that sent us something, and they're like, hey, we need we're redoing something, and they're like, you can buy a brick, you can buy a 10 by 10 pad, and all these different things. And it was like one was $10, one was $500, one was $5,000, and I'm like, so it is kind of cool to see that kind of stuff come together. But if not that, then make those ceilings really high. That way you got a bunch of banner space. You know what I'm saying? So
we're totally going to go the Alan Hain route with a warehouse size walls in there to cover. But no, it's one of those things where we've been thinking a lot about the actual layout of the building and how we want really tall ceilings. We want to be able to get machinery in the back half of the building and
right.
dig out teach people how to dig out for patios and retaining walls and actually build these things in the building in the wintertime. It's a convenient time for folks to come and train and do that kind of stuff. So we're just I'm all kinds on fire for this. It's going to be awesome. And we'll still run our landscape construction business out of there, and have fuel tank, finally have our fuel tank there and an office for our production managers or our project managers. So they can, so we have morning meetings at the office instead of on the front porch at our house or in the kitchen and all that stuff. So I could go on and on, but it's going to be, there's so much efficiency that's going to, because the building we're in right now, we're cramming a practically $1 million company into a 15-foot by 40-foot, storage bay.
Right.
And which is cool because our overhead is really low, but it's actually costing us money at this point because we don't have fuel on site. We don't have bulk bins for gravel or stone. The stuff we use repeatedly, right? So we either got to have it delivered or we got to have, guys running get it in the morning, which is a kiss of death for efficiency.
Right.
And so so be careful too. Don't step over dimes to pick up nickels kind of thing. Cause that's where we're at the very moment. The company's outgrown its space, but we're not going to move in the meantime either. So we got to just kind of suck it up.
Well, you just
we get the new facility built.
You can just buy 4 storage units like I do, and every month it changes. Somebody told me on Instagram the other day to just buy the storage locker facility as an investment property, and then that way you can actually save some money on rent, But
yeah, there you go.
if I take that philosophy, I also need to buy a Chipotle and a State Farm insurance agency. You know what I'm saying? Because they get a lot of my money too. You know what I'm saying, Caleb? But but no, and here's the macro part of this whole conversation. At least my perspective, listening to you on your podcast, and anytime we get to talk to you and Brittany, I love what you said about the patience factor to get your dream property in your shop. Everybody, a lot of contractors, we always want that shop, that facility, that home base. And I think there's 2 big rites of passage. It's like for contractors. One's to get that nice truck, right? That nice truck, that foreman truck, or just like, I don't care if it's just a regular Chevy LT and it's a nicer, newer truck and it's yours, or maybe it's new. And then I feel like the next big rite of passage, at least for that owner, is to get a shop, to call home base, to get a headquarters, to get an assistant or an office manager or somebody working the phone, right? That is really, really cool. I don't aspire for that phase 2, but I do aspire to have a nice pole barn and loft and just a nice home base on my property. But for somebody of Caleb's business size and larger, I can imagine that that's such a exciting topic because it really does. You can take the armor off, if you will. You guys have your home base. You're not the traveling circus, where you're just loitering from town to town, taking on jobs. It's no, we have Auman worldwide headquarters. To me, that's awesome. And then all those little efficiencies with fuel and product and guys meeting at the job, that's awesome. To me, that's the greater conversation is you guys not having to, like you said, live out of a storage locker, which, hey, here's a tip. I've already done it for 4 or 5 years. You've done it for 10 plus years. It's called paying dues. And, it sucks, but it doesn't suck. It's just part of the process, and so I guess my encouraging word to you guys is that if you're trying to get yours, be patient. You will get yours too. Have a plan. And these guys, you like you said, Caleb, it took 8 months to get that decision, and that didn't happen overnight.
No, it was terribly, especially to Britt. It was really trying for her because, and then the fairness, that's where she was, impatient. I'm going to be, as soon as the zoning clears, I want to dozer on that place next day, and we're going to start moving dirt. You know what I mean? So
Amen.
That's where I lose my patience goes out the window.
Yeah.
So, I lose all my stoicism at that point because, and that's probably where Britt will be able to pull the reins on me a little bit, or maybe not. We'll want to go 100 miles an hour. And by the way, too, another thing. One of the reasons too we were really adamant. We have 3 acres that our home sits on, and we could have built something here at the house. I don't want to. We don't have enough flat land. If I had more flat land, I would maybe consider it. But one of the things I really wanted to do is make sure that we bought, just because of my mindset now, which didn't used to be, but I wanted to make sure that we bought a separate piece of property that the business would sit on. We would build and develop this piece of land. And so that in 30 years or, whatever the time span is, I have a separate piece of real estate that the company has paid for. The company, then can sell when I decide to retire or sell to the kids or whatever the heck, the future holds. And that's part of our, just a part of our retirement portfolio, right?
That. Yeah.
So because if it was built on the home property, we don't really, you take your property and turn it into something else at that point of
right.
Right. But the other issue with that is if a neighbor complains, hey, they're running a business out there and I don't like it, and you're not zoned for that.
Yep.
You're out. You literally get a cease and desist next day.
Right.
The kind of business, and you are done.
Yeah.
And so it's in our area that wouldn't fly necessarily, But regardless if it could or not, I don't think I just didn't want to go that route, because this is a way that the company can, again, pay to buy this real estate. The company pays, it's in the overhead of the company pays for it. And then it's part of our investment portfolio. We started a separate land holding company, which sounds really fancy, but we started a separate LLC that the company that is going to buy the land, and then Auman Landscape's going to pay it rent.
Yep.
And then that comes around to us circuitously, maybe is the right word. And it's all above board tax stuff, but that's all part of the thing of getting finally older and smarter in business. And you got to do what makes sense, talk to your own accountants and all that stuff of what works in your situation. But that's why we were so adamant about finding a separate piece of land. This is all part of a big picture, of how to make a landscape company something successful that you hang your hat on, you retire on, you make good money on. It's not, it drove me crazy when I was way younger, and I'm rambling here. We're going over time, but
you're good.
Brian, sorry, but it drove me crazy when I would hear young guys back when I was in my early 20s, and I'd run into a contractor that I hadn't met somewhere or I hadn't seen in a while. Like, hey man, what's up? How you doing? How's business and stuff? Like, oh, I got out of business. I got so-and-so pregnant and I got to get a real job. Or, hey, I got married and I got to get a real job. And and I've said this several times in public forums, but that never sat well with me. I was just like, no, this is a real job. This is a real career. And
right.
And it took me 20 freaking years, or really 15, because I wasn't smart enough to do it in 10. So it took me 15 freaking years to figure out how to actually make it something viable. But so you make sure you look at your business as a business is the biggest thing I guess I'm going to come away with. And we can dork out on the gear and the hardware and all that crap, but make sure you're running it as a business, even from age 21, or, you're a young contractor, or you're 40 and starting a business. Make sure you run it as a business and make it into something that, takes care of you down the road. So yeah, whatever.
Dude, I love it. You fired me up. And in fact, I got to add really quick. My mom said the same thing, dude, when I was 16. I was cutting lawns, and she goes, all right, well, now you got to go get a real job. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't have the Kid Contractor podcast, right? And I was like, this is a real job. And she's like, no, go get a real job. So I went and worked for Little Caesars for 4 years, went and worked for True Green a year after that, and then found myself back in the industry, in a good way. I entered it versus falling into it, which, whatever, there's no right or wrong answer. Just crush it, And it's yeah. But I just remember the same thing with my mom. I'm like, this is a real job. It's a real career. And she's like, no, cutting grass isn't a thing you can do for a profession. And I'm like, well, I know people that make $100,000 doing this. Yeah, well, go to school, honey, go to school. And so here's the thing. There's folks at every different level of the whole journey, right? There's guys starting up. There's guys getting their first 100 in gross. There's I'm not a finished product. I'm on this journey with so many of you guys. There's always a bigger fish. I see the Caleb and Brittany's out there, and they're just crushing it. You're entering that next chapter, that next phase, that next evolution of the business, and it is so exciting. And then there's levels after that. There's levels after that. Then there's the Corey Ballards and the Troy Clark. I was hanging with Corey Ballard, and I don't know if I can say any of this, but he you never know how that goes, right? But he was buying a property for just under $1 million. He bought it via text message with his real estate agent, and then he which is their landscape yard. We're talking 7 figures here, folks, via text message, a commitment. And then he texts his business partner Matt and goes, oh shit, I should probably check with Matt. Text Matt, hey dude, I bought this thing. Matt goes, let me run over there, take a look at it. Matt texts him back, yeah, this is exactly what we're looking for. Corey says, all right, get the contract going. This is all via text message, bro. And it's it's just crazy, man. I'm like, dude, $800,000 million. I'm like, I can't even buy a hot dog without my wife, checking the bank account. You know what I'm saying, Caleb? So it's I said, is this Chipotle, Chipotle with double meat? Can we do that? Are we wealthy? It's an extra $1.85. You know what I'm saying, Caleb? So
yeah, I mean, you gotta watch this kind of stuff. Yeah.
You and Brittany paint the dream for us. So we're living vicariously through you guys. We love it.
Well, it's funny because it makes me feel, because here I am at that level of we're buying a property. It's nearly 6 figures. And I'm like, it's so funny. He puts you in your place so fast. You're like, man, there's deals that are just so crazy. That go on, like you said, just nonchalantly via a text message, and I'm over here just this is my world at the moment. But
right.
But I don't plan on it being forever. We plan on, things keeping going, and that's the goal, right? We're always moving forward. Like we set the peg here and now we put it up higher on the wall and we're reaching for it. And
love it.
That's the game plan, right? You can't stagnate, right? You get comfortable, don't hesitate to do that, but like, don't stagnate. I don't think stagnation is really healthy.
Yeah. We always say you're growing or you're dying, right? And everything in life, and it's only ripe for just a few days, a couple weeks, or one season, one little part.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like okay, my company's 500,000. I got to go to 1 million. No, it could be how much profit can I squeeze out. You don't have to. It's just not growth for growth's sake. Like, okay, I got a $500,000 business. Can I hit 35% gross margins? Can I pay myself $240,000 a year? Like, it doesn't have to be, it can be whatever, right? Like, you don't have to.
I was just at dinner with Bedell 2 days ago, and I said, like, we don't have the biggest company, but I said, I am squeezing so much profit out of this thing. It's optimized. It's super efficient. I literally told him, I'm like, Bedell, thank you. Like, thank you so much. And he's like, oh, dude, for sure. Like, he got like kind of like, teary-eyed, and I got teary-eyed. I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying, like that whole deal. But I said, dude, you got to realize 4 years ago, my company did like $70,000. He's like,
right.
He's like, is that right? I go, yeah. I go, dude, we've only known each other for 4 years. I mean, it's like 1,000 years of living in like 4 years for some of us, like we've just, everything is new and exciting and crazy and growing and receding, then growing, then growing, then growing, then, it's like, it's just a fun journey, man. But I do get a hard stop. We got to button it up right here, but you're no stranger to the interwebs, as the kids call it. But where can they find you guys if they don't know you and they want to keep up with Auman Landscape?
Brian, we're on all the social media channels. Everything, our brand is at Auman Landscape. You'll find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. On YouTube with the best video ever made, the Gas and Thy Eye.
It's classic.
Maybe you might check that one out.
It's a banger.
We taught Brian some things on how to make successful YouTube videos. I think it's got maybe up to 200 views now. So Brian's gonna punch me in the stomach next time I see him.
Next time you guys go on YouTube, type in Gas in Thy Eye, and I want you to leave a comment, because I know you're a real fan. You got to leave a comment saying, I listened to this on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Caleb. I'm just here to leave a comment for the algorithm. All right, these
are all techniques I'm learning from you, Brian. I mean, the student is become the teacher here.
Well, don't flatter yourself. Only 2 people are going to do it. So, which is my mom and my wife. Those are my 2 biggest fans on my podcast. So it's
oh man. Your wife? Oh, I can't even get Brittany to like my stuff.
Well,
you at least got that going for you.
I pay her to listen to the show. You know what I'm saying? It's
well, whatever you got to do.
It's like quality control, but different. So anyway, guys, Caleb and I literally we will banter like this for 20 minutes, just cutting up, and then our wives look at us like, "Are you guys getting married yet?" Like they just. She's literally on the couch right now laughing at me, Caleb. By the way, because we're going to date night for dinner. But
heck yeah, get out of here. See you later.
All right, hey, so guys, follow Caleb Auman on Instagram, TikTok. He's young and hip like that. And it's really impressive. And then, guys, listen to the Kid Contractor podcast. You guys are going to switch over to the next track anyway. If you haven't listened to the show, I'm not kidding. I don't pump stuff up and hype stuff up. Like I know I sell a lot of with the different affiliates and all that mess, but genuinely, honestly, like I learned from Caleb's show. Almost every person that's on there, I'm taking a couple notes. Like I'm mowing grass now. I'll literally stop the mower, turn the blades off, pull my phone out, hit the notepad, write down 2 or 3 different things. I'm like, key performance indicators, KPI. What is that? I've never heard that word before. I go write that down. Liz, we need KPI. We need this. We need that. And she's like, you've been listening to Caleb again, huh? And I'm like, yeah, they're so smart. So in all honesty, it's got my full endorsement. I love it. You guys do a great job on the show, Caleb. Keep it going. Don't get too busy where you let that thing fall off, because we need you. Gotham needs you. Okay, so.
No, geez, Brian. Well, likewise, man.
Awesome. All right, well, hey, we'll button up right here, Caleb. In all sincerity, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show, man. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thanks for holding my hand through a lot of stuff too, like YouTube and podcasts and all. I really appreciate it. So thanks everybody for checking out. Appreciate it. Have a good one, everybody.
Amen. All right, guys. Well, hey, this is another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, guys. We really appreciate you listening in. Stay tuned. We got more shows coming later this week. So, guys, we'll button up right here. Thanks again, and we will catch up with you guys here on the next one.
When productivity matters, Billy Goat's one and done 30-inch and 25-inch plugger reciprocating aerators deliver. You have a tight window of time to complete your aeration services before the leaves start flying and fall cleanups get underway. So get to it with Hydro Drive, self-propelled, variable speed, in-ground turning, and the unmatched maneuverability of a Billy Goat reciprocating aerator. Eliminate double aerating and do patch repair and seedbed prep on the fly, saving time and maximizing your productivity. Complete a quarter acre in as little as 15 minutes with the 30-inch and up to just under 43,000 square feet per hour with the 25-inch. Get in more jobs per day and do them with one pass, one machine, a one-man crew, and aerate one time without callbacks. See your local lawn and garden dealer and ask about the 150-day deferred, 0 down, 0% or low-interest financing up to 4 years.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production. Hands on time with the best equipment and hang out with your favorite lawn bros. Brian said, oh, man, I feel like Caleb Auman this morning. Man, why does my voice suck today?